Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be showcasing double Royal Guard. I'm going to be showing how I kind of utilize this strategy in the end game and kind of how I build it and, where it performs well and all of that. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first off, let's go ahead and pull up Royal Guard here. It's going to be in the High Elves, the Epic on the far left, Attack, Magic, Affinity. First things first, we've got a 93 base speed, which is kind of low, but it's not awful. It's not like in the 80s. And then as far as kit, we've got an A1 that hits one enemy with a chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. A pretty solid A1 there. Then we've got the ability that Royal Guard is known for. Takedown. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, an AoE, and damage increases according to enemy max HP. So very similar to Cold Heart's ability that she is known for, the Heart Seeker, where the damage increases based off enemy max HP. And it also says attack on here, but from what I've noticed in testing Cold Heart and Royal Guard, the enemy max HP seems to be much more important than the attack score. So on your Cold Hearts and your Royal Guards, you can, especially in the end game, you can build them with a little bit more survivability, like use HP chests and stuff, because getting a million attack isn't as important on, an ability like this that scales with enemy max HP, because when you crit and the enemy has as much HP as like the spider boss, that crit scaling with that HP is going to make a huge difference compared to the ATK score. Alright, but then we've got this hamstring ability that attacks 4 times at random. Each hit has a 60% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Each hit also has a 60% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 25%. So a pretty good ability here, especially for dungeons and faction wars and stuff. It's another ability on a 4-turn cooldown that brings a lot of general utility. And then we've got increased ally attack in dungeons by 35%. So pretty decent, especially for like speed farming strategies, which kind of synergizes well with what Royal Guard is used for. So I like how the aura kind of fits into the kit. All right, and now I'll kind of pull up my Royal Guards and kind of show you how I built mine. Okay, so I've got my 2 Royal Guards here. And oh, that's crazy. I never noticed their hero power is so close. 49,025 and 49,052. That's interesting. But yeah, so we want to get our crit rate to 100%. We don't want our takedown not critting, because we're going to be missing out on a ton of damage if we're not critting. So you want to get this to 15 plus 85 to get that 100% crit rate. And then we're looking for as much crit damage as we can. Accuracy is good, but not like essential, because his main utility is getting, getting use out of that takedown ability and having it hit as hard as possible. So 100% crit rate, and then we want to get as much crit damage as possible, 220, 230, 250 and above, just as much crit damage as possible to scale that takedown to hit as hard as we can get it to hit. So, and then we get a little bit of attack and sustain outside of that. So you'll see on my Royal Guards, I went with the crit rate. I did go attack because this chest is insane with the crit damage and crit rate on there. And then, crit damage. And then my other Royal Guard is going to be kind of similar. Even more crit damage. We can see this one's up over 250. If you ever want to see total stats, you can go here. We can see that the crit damage is 253. And this can kind of give you a baseline of the stats of my Royal Guards that I use in the end game. Alright, and then masteries. Oh, first, I should talk about sets. Okay, so you'll see, like, I have this Royal Guard here that it has, like, some broken sets and stuff. Just because the stats are generally more important than the sets. If you can get like 6-star really good gear with perfect rolls like this one, like this is basically a crit damage set by itself. It's got 19 crit damage, so that's why broken sets can be very useful and prioritize the stats instead of the set bonus. But like in terms of the optimal sets for your Royal Guards, it's gonna be like the Savage set to ignore defense. Cruel gives you attack and ignores defense, and your speed, your attack, and all that sort of stuff. So crit damage set is also very good. You'll see this one here. I've got the 4 pieces of crit damage. That's why I'm able to get such a high crit damage score. But yeah, ideally I would like to get them kitted out in like amazing Savage gear, so I'm ignoring defense. Even Cruel, I am working on kind of switching up some gear to squeeze in a 2 set of Cruel there for a little bit of ignore defense, just to make that takedown ability hit even harder. But for now, that's what we're going with. And then for masteries, you'll have a lot of people say for the end game, Helm Smasher is better because, and probably over time, it will outscale the crit damage. But the thing is I use my Royal Guards for a spider nuking strategy that I will show you here. And I don't want, like, I want to know my strategy is going to work. I want it to be consistent. I don't want to, you know, have a strategy where, like, oh, well, both my Royal Guards didn't get their 50% Helm Smasher proc, so now I failed the run. Like, I don't want that. I just want it to be consistent. So I went with the Flawless Execution 20% crit damage. And yeah, that's the masteries there. I won't spend too much time on it, but if you want to go over that, you're welcome to pause it and kind of stop there. And as always, you want to use the mastery guides, you know, in general as just a guideline. You shouldn't like blindly follow mastery guides. You should still read the skills and build the character yourself for what you're using it for and tailor it to your account. But okay, so most famously, Royal Guard is probably used for spider nuking strategies, and so we'll see here. This is kind of the strategy that I designed for auto spider. The Spirit Host is just to provide the speed aura to make it easier for my characters to get to that threshold where they get 2 turns before the spider. You need about 193, 194 speed or something to go twice before the spider. And with the Spirit Host, I'm able to get to that threshold with only like 185, 184 speed. So it makes the gearing process just a little bit easier. And then the Spirit Host does do an ability where she buffs my attack. So, you know, it works out well. And the Kaimar is going to reset them and let them do their takedown again so we can wipe out the spider quickly. And the Dracomorph is there to do the debuffing. So I'll kind of show you how this functions live here. And there the Spirit Host buffs the attack. The Dracomorph debuffs. We've got Royal Guard takedown. Other Royal Guard takedown. We can see that more than half of the spider's HP. So we're just going to reset and do it again. And takedown. And takedown. There you go. We're autoing the spider in 27 seconds, which is insane. Now, obviously, a lot of you aren't going to have, you know, maybe even double Royal Guard or Dracomorph or Kaimar, but there's ways to do strategies like this based around Royal Guard, especially if you're not doing like stage 20. There's ways to utilize this for those of you, and it's also good to see things that you can kind of work towards in the end game and see kind of strategies that, you know, end game players like myself are implementing. So don't feel bad if you can't make this specific strategy happen. It's still good to have the game knowledge and kind of what you should be striving towards. But yeah, we got a legendary ring, so that's cool. It's not a very good one. It's probably one that I would sell. I guess it could roll double defense or something and be decent, but yeah, I wish we could sell artifacts from here. Okay, so where else is it good? I actually use double Royal Guard as part of my Minotaur grind. So right now I'm grinding the scrolls for Angar to kind of test him out in faction wars in a few different areas, and you'll see here how insane the double Royal Guard can be. I can typically do my level 15 Minotaur runs in like 45 seconds, so I'm able to get max scrolls on my champions in like 2.5 hours just by running the Minotaur over and over. We see with the RGs just kind of helping nuke the Minotaur. Now with their auto, sometimes they won't prioritize their takedown ability. They like to wait until there's a decreased defense and like a weaken on the boss and stuff before they use their takedown, so can be a little bit frustrating. But it can also be smart in some situations because they'll get their ability to hit a lot harder. And there we go. We see 39 seconds. I'll show you again. A great way to grind your Minotaur scrolls going with the double Royal Guard. In terms of where double Royal Guard would be best is probably like a lot of the potion dungeons. It can be pretty good as long as you bring the proper like buff stealing and debuff blocking and proper utility for the dungeon that you're in. Like obviously Royal Guard can't, you know, steal the shield from the magic boss and stuff like that, but if you have champions in place to take care of that role, then Royal Guard can still be very good in basically any dungeon as long as you cover the bases of the special ability that you need to deal with on the boss. So there we go. We can see it's very consistent. I'm always in between 30 and 40 seconds, 32, 36, somewhere in there, and it makes Minotaur grinding very trivial and quick. So yeah, you can use double Royal Guard. I also use in my Arcane Keep runs that are usually like, I don't know, 30 something seconds, kind of similar to the Minotaur. And like I said, even if you don't have the legendaries that I have, if you can substitute other things in, and the Royal Guards will still be very generally useful and perform well for you. And there we go. Now now they'll do takedown. Yep, there we go. And there we go. 29 seconds. Double Royal Guard again, just killing it. And where else? Void Keep. They're definitely really good in the Void Keep. I'll kind of show you a few of these runs just to kind of get you an idea and kind of showcase it on how good it can be. Also going to be very of the gear dungeons. The Golem and the Fire Knight are going to be tough to get utility out of double Royal Guard, but the Spider and the Dragon, it's going to really shine. And there we go, even better. 25 seconds. Oh, wow, and we got a 3 big potion drop. That's actually the best you can do in the stage 15 keeps. 3 large potions is the best drop you can get. All right, so that was pretty good there. And then I also use my double Royal Guard in the Dragon. So here we go. So we go takedown, takedown, roasted. Cool, and we got to the Dragon in under 30 seconds, which is pretty good. And then it's just kind of, you know, some of these Dragon runs, it's about the RNG kind of lining up and getting the abilities to kind of go off in the right order. You know, I've done, with this team, I've done like 44, 45 seconds before. But typically I average around a minute, like 57, 58 seconds, somewhere in there. So this is going to be one of the slower versions of this run. Because I would say I'm typically in between like 50 and 104, somewhere in there. And it can max out at around 42 to 45. So those gloves are really bad. All right, but yeah, I get questions all the time on like streams and comment sections and stuff of people wanting to see what like duos of champions can be good and what champions are worth building multiples of. And I would say Royal Guard definitely fits that role. You can get a lot of utility out of building multiple Royal Guards. So yeah, that's going to kind of do it for this video. And if you have any questions, drop it down in the comments. I'll do my best to help you out. So as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.